I hope the audio picked that up. That was loud.
We just got the most rumbly thunder.
This is going to be fun to finish recording.
I'm like waiting for the power to go out.
Oh, that would be spicy.
Hello!
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps.
I'm Mac.
I'm Jubes.
And I'm Alexa.
Yay!
Our favorite queen of chaos is back.
Yes. We cannot live without her.
Yeah, honestly, it's been since December.
Yeah. This is also the first time I'm seeing Mac since like
March.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been like a couple months almost. Yeah. So you guys get to catch up, and so does Mac.
Yeah.
Journey I've seen like in March-ish or April-ish.
Yeah, whenever Mac was really sick, because we were supposed to have like a dinner with the three of us, and then Mac was like, guys, I don't have a voice. I'm just going to be there like staring at you. And we were like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that was April.
Fair.
Yeah, fun times. So
So fun. All right, catch up.
Mustard.
where do we begin?
Oh my gosh, for ketchup, mustard, and relish.
Oh my gosh. Who's who?
I'm mustard, obviously.
Do you want ketchup or relish?
I think I'd be like relish.
Yeah, because you're a little spicy.
Yeah. It's like a hit or miss with me. Like some days it's like, yeah, I really like relish. Some days it's like, oh my god, get this away from me. And that's exactly how people react to me. So like
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh. Yeah.
So actual ketchup.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's been going on in my life since what hasn't gone on in my life since I was last year? You know, I've really taken a step into like my party girl era.
Yes.
Like an extreme step. Some would say nosedive into my party girl era. For a while there, like I left our job like Jubes has, but for a while there I'd be showing up to my shifts and either Mac or Jubes would be like, so what part of the city did you come from and have you slept?
And the answer was, no, I haven't slept.
And downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough there for a little while, but chilled out after like April because I was like, oh my gosh, this is starting to like really like take a toll on me and my personal relationships. I'm like, we need to take a chill pill.
Yeah.
So I spent all of April sober, didn't go out except for April Fool's Day. It was the only day that I went out and I barely saw anybody. I was just like hanging out with my sister 24/7.
Nice.
That's fun. That's wholesome.
Yeah.
That works.
Quite the wholesome month.
Good. We love a wholesome girl April.
Yeah, it was needed. And now I've tried stepping back into my feral era again and then got assaulted at the club.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was brutal.
That was so bad.
Yeah, like I like had to like talk my dad into like me and my stepmom were like, please do not leave the house. I was like, dude, I just went through one traumatic event. I would like to have my dad in the morning.
Yeah,
But
no
yeah,
kidding.
it was like horrible. I got followed around by like this creepy old dude who like kept like touching me like very aggressively, and so then I was like, maybe this is a sign it's not time for me to be feral yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the universe saying stay home.
Yeah, and stay home, not stay ho.
E.T. stay home.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
E.T. calls ho.
Yeah.
E.T. calls home.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it's been nice being like chill again though. I've really dove into like being like artistic again. Currently
fun.
working on like a portrait of Tana Mojo, and it's like actually like going really, really well. I just don't have the energy to do her hair right now. So it's just sitting there like her face and chest, and I haven't erased anything. It's like this blob of facial features, but
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
so fun.
Nice.
Jubes, updates?
Well, this weekend was Mother's Day, I think. No, it was your birthday weekend. Yeah.
I'll give you updates. I don't know. We're
But-
pre-recording as per usual.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
We're all going to be at the cabin, and
It'll be a blast. I'm
Yeah.
actually quite excited about that.
it'll be wholesome fun.
And
I guess another life update, speaking of birthdays, I turned 20.
Yeah. We need to congratulate Alexa on beating teen pregnancy.
Ooh, I got a cake.
Round of applause for her.
There was a while there where none of us were sure.
It was dicey.
It was questionable for a minute there.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got the IUD working overtime. Like,
It's putting in the work.
yeah. It's like, best $400 I've ever spent.
She was just $400.
Yeah, because it wasn't covered by my insurance. I know.
Wow.
I was like, literally, when I went to go get it done, my stepmom was like, we're not paying for this. And I was like, I guess my savings will.
Oh my goodness, I would totally pay for that, especially for my stepkid.
Yeah, well, I'm like $400 or like $100,000 in the first year. I'm like, I'm okay with not having kids. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
but if you
that's
ask my
fair.
sister, she wants it out and she wants to be pregnant now.
Like my friends.
Yeah.
All my friends are getting into the era. I'm like, yeah, step 1, boyfriend.
I'm like,
Step 2, baby.
I don't even want a boyfriend. Like this is the time in my life, the first time ever, where I'm like, I do not want a boyfriend. And it is the time in my life where boys all of a sudden are like, I don't want anything serious, thinking that I want something serious from them. I'm like, what about me showing up at your house after dark makes you believe that I want a relationship from you?
Literally.
If I wanted to date you, I'd be seeing you before 10 p.m. I'm sorry. Like,
Literally.
It's true.
dates would be had.
Dates would be had.
Yeah.
That's honestly valid.
It's true.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Life updates for you, Mac. It's your birthday. You're 25 now.
Yeah, we'll see how the weekend goes. That's weird, yeah, because Alexa's like, oh my gosh, we should celebrate our birthdays together because they're like 2 major events. I'm turning 20 and you're halfway through. And I'm like, yeah.
That's cute. Yeah. We love it.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about prior, like, how it doesn't, like, being 25 doesn't feel like I'm actually 25. It still feels like I am, like, 20. Mm-hmm. But when I reflect on what I did on my 20th birthday, I was still, like, excessively in my party phase.
Yeah.
At 20, because like my hair started falling at 21, just before I turned 22, or no, just before I turned 21 actually. So like in my 20s, like I started my 20th birthday by like having 30 something drinks, blacking out, kissing a childhood friend at a bar, throwing up in small town bar bathroom.
I thought you were gonna say kissing a child.
No.
I was like,
That's what I thought you were going to.
Childhood friend.
Pause.
No.
Oh, we didn't talk about this part of your 20th birthday.
No, childhood friend passing out on another friend's stairs, throwing up on stairs because they tried to move me. And then getting football tackled to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a
that's
mess.
fun.
I apologize to anyone involved. It was my messy era.
You know what? That's okay. We're
I
all
can't say
a
I've
lot
ever been.
messier.
I've been to that point, but I don't think I've ever thrown up like unwillingly. I've had like 1 or 2 nights. One for my friend's birthday, and I had work at 8 a.m. the next day, and I was like throwing up in a 7-Eleven bathroom
Oh, good.
on my way home. And then the other time was like more recently. We just went out, and I think, I don't know, all my nights have kind of gone together. Like, I don't know what was happening that night, but I was yawn. Like, it took me a while. I sat in my friend's car for like an hour just eating chips, trying to sober up.
Oh,
It was
nice.
bad. It was rough.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was the biggest red flag for me. Or like, oh yeah, it's time to stop this, because I was just blacking out all the time.
Yeah, that's what my red flag too was that second time. I was like, it's time to slow down.
I had no memory of a lot. But also at 20, I moved to Finland. So, I mean, that's also a flex.
Man, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, at 20, I just like developed or at 19, like tail end of 19, I developed a drinking problem. Actually, it wasn't a problem. It was more of like an Alexa problem to the alcohol than an alcohol problem to Alexa. So like,
Yeah. Well, it just kind of feels like the thing where like at age 19, like that's just kind of when your life, like you've been an adult for a year, you're like, okay, like where are the boundaries? What can I do? Like you're kind of like getting your feet under you. At least that was like for me and my siblings. Like we're joking about like what's my sister gonna do for her 19th year, because I dyed my hair blue. My brother became a stripper, and so we're like,
I went to Bali. I almost died in Bali.
yeah. So it's like, what is Sheraton gonna do to kind of like upstage the strippering?
well, I also hadn't ever been single and an adult, so that's why I think I went kind
There's
of
that
feral.
too.
So like, I have hopes for Sheraton. I'm like, I hope you just
I'm like, get a tattoo.
And no, Sheraton has like she's going from strippers
there's a lot of like
to jump.
There's some big shoes to fill for sure.
OnlyFans? Question mark?
Yeah. Or I know that's what I said.
That's kind of like the space.
Or like I don't know. Maybe she's gonna become like a sex worker or something. Like those are the two extremes that would kind of put her
What if she
over
becomes?
stripping.
But what if she becomes the first out of the three of you to get married in her 19th year, just by some like crazy?
I would rage.
Yeah, I know you would. You would lose your. Yeah.
I would be furious. I would no longer have a sister.
Turning punches a wall.
Or maybe a boyfriend. Yeah.
You had it Bryce, not Sheridan.
Yeah. You might not have a boyfriend anymore.
Yeah, literally. Fuck you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Sheridan meets the love of her life. In 6 months, gets engaged.
I hope so. I want that for her so bad. Not to get married yet, but to find her love.
Do you want her to wait 7 years? Like,
Yeah, I do. I do.
I'd love to find mine. I just don't think it's in the cards for me for at least another 2 years.
Well, you don't need it to be, right? Like,
Well, no, because like I said, like this is the first time in my life where like actually I just watched Queen Charlotte.
oh
And
yeah.
every Bridgerton episodes makes me like desperately want to be in love. And then
Yeah.
I open my Snapchat and I'm like, I do not want any of these people though.
But not with you.
Yeah, because I'm like, y'all scare me. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in my man hating era, so like it's fun.
Yay. We love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
cool.
So with our ketchup out of the way, our condiments have been shared. Sorry. Our topic today is defense mechanisms. We brought it up on the last episode Alexa was on, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, catch me on your defense mechanism episode. And so you're catching her on our defense mechanism episode.
So we really said bet.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, we've kind of just like, we have some notes prepared, and we're kind of just gonna like freeball it and kind of see where this conversation goes. But yeah, so to start, Michaela, what is a defense mechanism?
So defense mechanisms are unconscious strategies where people protect themselves from anxious thoughts or feelings, or just uncomfortable thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
As a whole.
So it kind of like, it relates back to like our toxic positivity episode where we like a lot of people use toxic positivity as a defense mechanism to not feel uncomfortable or sad or like any of these other emotions that really like tie into uncomfortability.
Yeah.
That felt really repetitive. My brain shut off about halfway through that sentence.
So Freud started the discussion of defense mechanisms in the 19th century in relation to the subconscious defenses of the id, ego, and superego. His daughter defined and analyzed defense mechanisms that he had started on. She defined 10 defense mechanisms. Okay, and then psychoanalysts who came later increased the list. So we're
On the
go
topic
through
of
that
Freud. We're on the topic of Freud again.
Yeah, our big old buddy Sigmund.
I love him so much. He's my favorite.
My favorite thing about him is that he came up with like the Electra complex and the Oedipus complex, and his biggest supporter was his daughter.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a fun little twist.
Well, yeah, on that note, then she would want to sleep with him.
Yeah, but do you think he
According
was
to his own theories.
Do you think he was using his research as a way to like explain the feelings that he had for his daughter as a way to be like, oh, like opposite sex? Yeah, that's
Probably.
nice face. Like, do you think that's what it was?
Well, yeah, because most like if you think about like scientific theory, you have a hypothesis and then you have like the steps to prove it. So his feelings for his daughter is probably what led to his hypothesis of everybody feels this way, right?
Yeah, and then his daughter's like, you know what? That makes sense.
I kind of want to fuck my dad.
And he's like, Oedipus, Greek mythology.
Yeah, so Anna, we love her. She defined defense mechanisms as unconscious resources used by the ego to decrease internal stress. And so people devise these unconscious mechanisms to decrease conflict within themselves, specifically through the superego and the id. We're going to do an all about the ego episode at some point where we kind of go into more about the ego, the superego, and the id.
And how it presents in your life.
How they all interact with each other. And so like by recognizing and identifying these processes, people can improve their self-awareness and gain a new understanding of their own behaviors, which is kind of where we will be adding our 2 cents in.
Exactamo.
Exactamando.
And then so if defense mechanisms are identified in adolescence, it can help predict further development of personality disorders. The early identification of defense mechanisms can have great clinical significance.
Yeah. So, like, the sooner you become self-aware, the better, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And so now we're just gonna kind of like go through like the different defense mechanisms and kind of be like, oh, like I identify with this one. This one is me.
Yeah.
I am it.
All right, so the first one on this list is acting out. So acting out is the development of detrimental behavior that distracts attention and energy away from other stressors. This may be present in conduct disorder, antisocial personality disorder, or oppositional defiant disorder.
I haven't heard of oppositional defiant disorder. Is that just like where you have like an issue with authority?
It's meant like kids who don't respect authority is essentially what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be like for adolescents specifically.
Okay.
It kind of changes once you're an adult, and so then just be like, you're just being an asshole.
Right.
But for a kid, they titled it
Oppositional defiant disorder.
Well, me personally, I've never acted out once in my life. I have been straight as an arrow my entire life.
Well, I feel like acting out is kind of just like, that's just what you do as a kid. Like, that's where you learn, like, where the boundaries are, like, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. It's how people feel heard.
Well, the funny thing is that I actually, like, didn't act out very much throughout my childhood. Like, me and my mom were talking about this. Like, all of us kids, for the majority, up until, I think we were probably, like, around 15, we didn't really act out. Like, I was never, didn't have my rebellious phase. That's literally been 19 for me, is me being, like, testing the waters of how far I can go. So, if anything, I didn't start acting out until recently.
I definitely said I acted out as a kid, but it wasn't like it wasn't as, like, attention seeking, if that makes sense. Like, if I didn't want to go to bed, I was going to storm away. Like, I wasn't going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I acted out in that way. Oh, there was one time I did get in a fight with my sister, and I almost removed her bedroom door because she pissed me off.
That's amazing.
I think that would have counted as acting out had I followed through with it. But
yeah, there was a lot of our doors at our old, like, my childhood house were very weak. So there was holes in them from me and my siblings, like, fighting with each other. There's, like, one where there was, like, a screwdriver hole through one of the doors because either I was chasing my brother or my brother was chasing me with a screwdriver. Oh my god. It's just, like, sibling things.
You don't have siblings until one of you has chased the other one with a weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, no, so listen, my sister has some touch sensitivity stuff, and so we would never fight as kids, but when we wanted to fight, we would grab spatulas.
Nice.
But we have one metal spatula in the house, and the rest are plastic. You can guess who always got the metal spatula, because all I had to do was lick my hand and stick it out, and she would, like, fold it half backwards.
Oh my gosh.
The way. So I'd grab the metal spatula. Well, one time I grabbed the metal spatula, and she pulled out a knife. And I was like, whoa.
Well played.
This game ends here. You made this game not fun anymore.
I love it.
But
yeah. No, the only person who was chasing
a younger sibling.
yeah. You're the one with touch issues. You're the one who suggested spatulas.
Yeah.
Guess who's gonna get the metal spatula?
Yeah. Don't bring a spatula to a knife fight. I guess like that.
Or knife to a spatula fight.
Yeah, knife to a spatula fight. Oh my gosh. We love that. Okay, so the next one is avoidance, which is dismissing thoughts or feelings that are uncomfortable or keeping away from people, places, or situations associated with uncomfortable thoughts or feelings. And so this can be present in post-traumatic stress disorder, where one avoids the location of a traumatic motor vehicle accident or avoids driving completely. We talked about it also with toxic positivity, where you're like avoiding certain emotions. I have in my notes that this is the defense mechanism that I have. Because I just ghost. As soon as I get an uncomfortable feeling, I'm like, peace out. I cannot handle confrontation. I will avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50. Sometimes I just don't care to deal with it.
Yeah.
And other times I'm head on.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
like, I utilize, like, the whole, why did the term just leave my brain? Oh, object permanence aspect of ADHD. Oh, do I weaponize that? Because literally, if it's not in front of me, I won't think about it. I just physically can't think about it unless it's directly in front of me most of the time. So, like, if I don't want to think about something, I just remove whatever I have to think about, like the object that associates with it, out of my life.
I love that. That's actually a mood.
yeah, it's quite fun. It's really detrimental to my everything, but like it helps.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is conversion. So the development of physical symptoms that cannot be explained by pathophysiology or physical injury. This is recognized in conversion disorder, aka functional neurologic symptom disorder.
Fun.
So many big words for a little me.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of like the whole psychosomatic kind of
Yeah.
style things that we were talking about
Whatever episode that was.
in all the episodes. I kind of
I did a whole episode on like psychosomatic, like the dancing plague with my other podcast. We did like a whole. They were like, well, what caused this? Like, why? Like people would like dance themselves to death, but no one knows why.
Weird.
There's some
I
like
haven't heard
mass
that.
hysteria. Yeah. There's like
They all needed orgasms.
they're all
The cure for hysteria was orgasms.
literally.
That's how we got vibrators, my friends.
Not in 1519. The dildos were made out of wood.
1519.
That's when that was. I'm pretty
Imagine
sure.
getting the slivers.
Just a splinter. Gross.
The
Renaissance
sex toy
dildo.
industry has really come a long way, hasn't it?
Since the Renaissance.
Literally. Oh my gosh. We love it. Okay.
Okay, so our next defense mechanism is denial. So denial is dismissing external reality, instead focusing on internal explanations or fallacies, and thereby avoiding uncomfortable reality or situation.
I just want to clarify it's fallacies, not phalluses, because that means penis.
Fallacies. We're talking about Freud. Remember.
Well, hey, you know what?
It's all
Fair
about phallic. And this may be present in someone who continues to shop for expensive designer clothes despite being in serious financial debt.
I thought of you with that one until it got to serious financial debt, because you
I was
like
like,
to.
yeah,
Because you like to.
Excuse you.
No, you like you say like you self-soothe by shopping.
I know, yeah,
But
I
you're just
spend-
not in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never spend my way into debt. I'm really good with money. I just spend too much of it right now. It could go to other modes that were more proactive, but yeah,
That's fair.
you know.
Yeah. I say the same. Yeah, for a while there, like there was a guy that I was seeing like regularly, and he would be like, "You're into the mall," and I'm like, "No, I don't have the money for it." He's like, "You never have the money for it, yet every time you come here, you have a new article of clothing." And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so I had to kick that, but I've been really good at not
The
like
guy
just
or
like
the shopping?
both. Okay. Both actually. One, the shopping I've kicked. The other one, it's like it's up in the air. I know, like it's been like a week or two since he's texted me. I know the instant he does, I could probably be like, oh my gosh, but like,
Sorry, I just gotta go shopping.
yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna go spend my money instead.
Oh my
I'm dealing
gosh.
with the headache that is you as a person.
Okay, so the next one we have is identification. And so that is the internalization or reproduction of behaviors observed in others, such as a child developing the behavior of his or her parent without conscious realization of this process. It's also known as introjection. This actually happened to me because when I was younger, I was like super extroverted, like talk to anyone, like just totally out there, like just like my dad. But then my mom started homeschooling me, and she was like, yeah, by grade 2, like the first year she homeschooled me, she's like, yeah, I noticed you starting to become more like me and more like introverted and like withdrawn.
Interesting.
I was like,
That's crazy.
oh, okay, I lost my sparkle.
I mean, you're getting it back. I think you're pretty
I'm
extroverted
getting
now.
it back. University helped a lot with that.
Like I wouldn't say. I mean, when we first met, you said you were an introvert, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it depends on energy level too, right? Like,
Oh yeah, I think that's everyone too, right?
Yeah.
Even extroverts can get exhausted, socially exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Around the wrong people.
exactly.
Emotional leeches.
Chronically negative individuals.
Well, it's funny because like I've always thought that I was a chronically negative person, but I'm not. I just have a lot of shit that happens to me.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that like, and I never like go about like talking about my like issues and things that happen to me in a negative way. Again, because my defense mechanism is like being like really funny and out there and just like really open about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'm not negative. Just a lot of crap happens to me. I just need to learn not to talk about all of it at once.
Well, I wouldn't say that you're negative because you don't have like a negative outlook on life, right? Like
No.
you're still
we're pretty neutral.
Overall, yeah.
Because I'm like, we're all gonna die one day, so like, what does it matter that like bad things are gonna happen to you? Yeah.
Michaela loves that. Oh my gosh.
That's me and my sister's new thing is, it doesn't matter, we're gonna die one day.
We can't do it for the plot.
Exactly.
For the plot.
Doing it for the plot has gotten me into like quite the I had to stop saying that.
Got into some sticky situations.
Yeah. Our next defense mechanism, projection. So it is attributing one's own maladaptive inner impulses to someone else, i.e. someone cheats on their spouse and accuses their spouse of cheating or becomes suspicious of them. This feels like a personal attack. Not that I do that, it's that other people have done it to me.
Yeah. So I think projection is like the most headache eye roll side eye thing for me.
Oh, it's
I'm like,
just like,
do not dump your shit on me, and I will put that wall up so fast.
Literally.
well, like in my last, like I was talking to somebody recently, we met up and we were talking about like relationships and stuff like that, and he was explaining to me how he handles like being depressed and stuff like that. And then I started talking about how I handle when, like, because I'm like, well, whenever I'm in, like, a really good place, I know that a depressive episode's going to come. It's been like that my whole life.
Yeah.
And now I'm just better at preparing for it rather than trying to fight my way through it. Because that's typically, like, if I'm prepared and I can go through it comfortably, I'll be fine. If I'm fighting tooth and nail through it, I'm going to be miserable. And he, like, just all of a sudden was like, well, it just seems like you don't care that you're depressed. It seems like you don't want to do anything about it. Like, you're just, like, sitting there and, like,
Oh, no.
blah, blah, blah. And then immediately after turns around the conversation back onto him and is explaining how he handles it and says word for word what I do. And I'm like, so, like, clearly one of us is more okay with handling their issues than the other, because you just called me dumb and, like, I'm okay with being depressed and, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, come on. I'm done with this conversation. And then got mad because I was in a bad mood after that.
Well, projection is funny. Not funny, but it's interesting because, as I've, like, grown up and I've, like started to actually, like, see people, like, projecting onto other people and be like, oh, okay, like, that's an issue you have, not an issue they have. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's when I tend to be a magnet for that for whatever, God knows, whatever reason. My entire life has been people projecting their issues on me because I walk into a room and well, for some friends they've said it's like the confidence, right? This is coming from like 3rd grade. I'm talking like kindergarten, first grade,
same.
preschool, like from that point on, where just people just don't like me and all I do is walk into a room. I can say nothing, I just walk into a room and suddenly I'm hated.
Well, it's because we have big personalities, and, like, even if it's not always, like, true confidence, it's how we carry ourselves. Because, like, I remember through middle school, up until, like, I moved, basically, I had this group of girls who were, like, on and off friends with me, and, like, they would sometimes hate me, sometimes love me, and I'm like, I know it's just because you have these issues with me.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to, like, I don't have to, like, dim my light because other people can't see. Like,
Well, maybe it is. And, like, some of the people, like, even some of my closest friends now, they're like, oh, yeah, I hated you when I first met you. I was like, for what?
That's, like, me and my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, we're inseparable now. We both hated each other when we first met.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just how, like, female friendships start. Like, I've seen so many TikToks of, like best friends being like, oh, like, I hated you when we first met, but they're like, this is a sign of, like, a good friendship or whatever. It cracks me up because that's how we were. We didn't hate each other.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't hate you, but I was standoffish.
We were both standoffish towards each other because we were like, okay, we've talked about this on, like, every episode.
Yeah, well, it's like Journey just seemed like she had a stick up her ass, and I was like, I'm not here for that.
That's how I felt about Journey at the very first two. Because she came in and, like, I could tell, like, she wasn't in a good mood, but she was, like, fighting our manager over a vacuum. Like,
yeah, because immediately you tried to gaslight me, and I was like, no.
Yeah, because you're like, the vacuum doesn't work. And then he turns it on, and the vacuum's working, and she's like, well, and I'm like, okay, because it's my first day. I don't know if the vacuum worked last night or not.
It was not a great
now,
first
in
impression.
retrospect, I know that vacuum did not work.
Well, and then I, like, watched you all day. I just remember you being like, yeah, you just, like, stared at me all day. I was like, that's because I was trying to make mental note of all the things I needed to correct you on.
Yeah.
So she does have a stick up her ass, but not in a bad way.
Yeah. Not in a bad way. I'm just
In a very mommy
particular.
way.
I'm very mommy. I'm micro mommy.
I referenced that to a guy the other day, and he was like, oh, what the hell is wrong with you?
I'm very mommy.
I just said it out of my breath. I was just like, yeah, I'm very mommy. And then I started laughing to myself, and he's like, what is wrong with this girl?
The Chachis do it to me all the time. Like, I brought them, like, water and ice cream, and they're like, oh, like, I'm very mommy. I was like, thank you.
No, it's good. It's become a personality trait.
Literally.
All right. So our next one is regression. So adapting one's behavior to earlier levels of psychosocial development, i.e., or example, I guess. I don't have to say i.e. A stressful event may cause an individual to regress into bedwetting even though they outgrew it. That one is fascinating.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's, yeah.
Just because when you think about like the brain as a brick wall, again, that's another. I think of the microbiome as a parking lot and the brain as a brick wall. Mm-hmm. Like once you lay these bricks, unless you have like dementia, there's no reason why the bricks should just like fly out. So like what blockades are being put in place where that person just like blacks out and just goes right to that?
Well, even like the psychology behind like bedwetting as it is, like part of like the murder triad or whatever is like they bedwet until like they're too old to be like wetting their bed. They kill animals and they like starting fires. Like those are like the murder triad. And so it's just like it's interesting how much bedwetting has to do with like your brain.
Yeah.
Well, also bedwetting is a common sign that a child is being sexually abused. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most common signs that a child is being sexually abused. Is if that after like obviously the typical age of a kid to be wetting the bed.
Yeah.
If they're like 7 or 8 and 9 and stuff like that and still wetting their pants or the bed, it's typically a sign that they're being sexually abused.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wet the bed most of my life. I was not sexually abused, I'll tell you that much.
No.
No, I would sleep too much and then I would dream about going to the toilet and I'd wake up.
That used to happen to me.
Yeah, there's also that too, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like sometimes they don't mean these things, but sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Or you have chronic bladder and kidney issues like I do.
Yeah.
And up until like literally less than a month ago, peed all over my mom's bed.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm gonna admit that to the internet.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the last time I wet the bed, it was when I was blackout drunk.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because in my head, because I was delirious from like, well, I had a really bad blood infection and like really bad UTI. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But I was hallucinating during this period too. And so in my head, have you guys watched Harry Potter? Mm-hmm. Okay, you know Draco Malfoy?
Yeah.
You know his dad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so in my head, it was that Mr. Malfoy was going to come and get me if I didn't pee right now. So I'm just sitting on my mom's bed. The paramedics are like out with like their wheelie chair trying to get me into the gurney so I can go into the ambulance. And I'm just like, I can't, Mr. Malfoy. And I just start peeing.
Oh no.
That's how you know I was like gone.
Yeah,
like,
no
this was like
kidding.
me just on like regular like painkillers like Advil and Aleve. I wasn't
Yeah.
even on the hard stuff yet, and I was thinking that Mr. Malfoy was gonna kill me if I didn't
Oh
pee
my
on my mom's
gosh.
bed.
And that's what happens when a UTI turns into a blood infection. Mm-hmm. Because of
I love our healthcare system.
because of the
Yeah.
wrong antibiotics.
Twice.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. It's
brutal.
It's all good now. This also started in February, but it's all good now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. This started when I was still working at the coffee shop,
Yeah.
which is bonkers.
Yep.
Okay, so next we have repression. So this is subconsciously blocking ideas or impulses that are undesirable. This is often present in someone who is present for a traumatic event but has no recollection of it. This one fascinates me because there's a podcast that I listen to where one of the hosts, she is repressed almost her entire childhood.
Yeah.
She has no memory of it whatsoever.
Well, according to Carmen, I have that as well.
Who?
Carmen,
Oh, okay, yeah.
according to my Rose reading, I have blackout phases, but of course I can't remember what they are. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like I have a pretty solid memory, but apparently I black some things out, so that's
Yeah.
fun and spicy.
I have stuff blacked out as recently as like my last relationship. Like that was
Yeah.
like also like a huge issue in it was how quickly like the minute something makes me like uncomfortable, it's blocked out.
Yeah.
Like it's a different level of like degrees and stuff like that, but like it was. You don't remember it correctly because you can't remember anything. And I'm like, I can remember some stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Repression's interesting.
Yeah,
for me.
it's scary. It's not fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's even worse when you're aware of it and you have like some idea of what you're blocking out, but you can't remember it.
That's crazy.
It's so irritating.
Yeah, and the girl, she's like going through some form of, it's almost like hypnotherapy. It's like ECBM. I don't know what the letters are. But they like do like a weird, almost like hypnosis to get her to like remember those repressed memories.
That's a lot of what hypnotherapy is used for now, is to try to either erase memories or recall them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't advertise it as hypnotherapy, but like the way they were describing it is like she is being hypnotized into. It's like sound. I don't know. Anyway,
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is splitting. So it's failing to reconcile both positive and negative attributes into a whole understanding of a person or situation, resulting in all or nothing thinking. And it's commonly associated with borderline personality disorder, and this is one of the things that I do the most.
Yeah.
Yes. It is rough.
So, like, can you expand on that a little bit? Like, I don't fully understand the definition of splitting.
Splitting, it's one of those things where it's like, I can go from being absolutely in love with somebody to hating them immediately because of one bad thing that they did. I can't see that they can do that bad thing and still be the person that I love. Necessarily. So it's like, it's very helpful when you want to get over somebody really quickly, because it's like, and it's usually not, it's weird things that make you do it. Yeah. Because it's not like necessarily like you're building it up. Typically it's just one thing that they do and I'm done with them.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because I feel like I do that with trust, where like I have this one friendship that I'm still healing from. And so like going into other friendships, and I'm really trying to work on this, and I've gotten a lot better, but it's like, as soon as they like do something that like makes me upset or whatever, I'm like, no, you're dead to me. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot better at it. I haven't done it with you guys at all, actually, so that's good.
I hope not.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like a big issue that I struggled with for a very long time. Like, as soon as I felt any like form of rejection, it'd be like, no, we're done.
Huh.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to get there.
Interesting.
It takes me absolutely nothing now.
Yeah.
Now it's like I had a friend, this was not too long ago, but I had like another like rough experience at the club or whatever. And I was on the phone with her and she was like, well, why don't you just like come out with me tomorrow? Like, just come out with me tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, no. Like, that was like one of, like, this up until this weekend being like one of the worst experiences I've had. I'm like, dude, no, I do not want to go out. And she's like trying to guilt me into going out. And I'm like, you're dead to me. I'm never speaking to you again. We're done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
Because if like there's very few things that people can do to make me be like, you're dead to me. But like as soon as they do, I'm like, you're done. We're not talking anymore. I'm not friends with you anymore. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
It takes me a lot to get there. So the next one is a schizoid fantasy. So creating an internal retreat into one's imagination to avoid uncomfortable situations. So this is commonly in children or later in development and in schizoid personality disorder. I think I do that, but not in like a schizophrenic kind of level, though.
Yeah.
I definitely just like, I daydream a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know a lot about like schizophrenic disorders or schizoid personality disorders, but I wouldn't have like identified this as like a schizoid fantasy because like a lot of people go like, oh, like go to your happy place, like find somewhere to like think of happy.
I guess I see it in this one in the way of like, I don't know, a kid growing up in like a highly abusive household, and so hearing fighting downstairs and then being like, I'm on a beach in Maui, everything is fine, nothing is bad. Yeah, that's kind of how I see that one. I definitely like remove myself, like I'm in my head a lot. But I wouldn't say it's like to the point of like disassociating my reality.
Yeah. Well, because I'm curious.
I can't relate.
Yeah.
You might be able to answer this, Alexa, but I'm curious how it plays a role. Like, how does this fantasy, like creating this happy place, then develop into schizoid personality disorder?
Well, that I don't know because I don't have a diagnosis for that. Okay. But when I was really young, because I had like so many imaginary friends, and like it's actually like my imaginary friends told me my mom was pregnant and it's, like stuff like that. Like a bunch of weird like of my like psychic stories from when I was a kid came
so how
from.
much of those do you think are ghosts?
Oh, probably a lot.
I feel like a lot of imaginary friends of children are just ghosts.
But like my imaginary friends were like, my go-to one was Bumblebee from Transformers.
Love it.
Like all the Transformers were there. A lot of the Ninja Turtles were there as well. I was a very boyish child. Still am, as you can tell by the everything about me. But then, like, I'd also have, like, the Winx Club fairies, like, but it's so vivid in my mind that they were there that my memories isn't of me talking to walls. It is of them being there. And still to this day, like, if I'm, like, making something up in my head, like when I'm driving, in order for me to keep focused, I have to have, like, multiple things going on. So I'll talk to, like, myself or create scenarios in my head. But, like, those scenarios are so real to me in my head that I forget that they're conversations, because, like, I'm talking to a real person in my head. I forget that I haven't had that conversation with that person.
Yeah, I actually do that all the time.
Yeah, it's really rough.
See, I do that, though, but, like, not about new conversations. I, like... how I would change old conversations.
You know, I do new conversations. It's how I prepare when I'm going to go see, especially, like, again, the one person I was seeing, like, consistently for a while there, I would plan all the conversations I was going to have with him while I'm driving in my car to his house.
Like, are they, like, good conversations or bad conversations? Because I do that if I'm, like, about to have, like, a hard conversation, I'll do that. And, like, it's the same, like, when you're in the shower, you're, like, winning all your fake arguments. Like, that's what I'll do. And I've, like, started dissociating so much while driving. And I'm like, okay, I just actually need to pay attention.
Yeah, like, well, because a lot of the times I'll be going there and be excited, but I'm, like, trying to, like, because my best friend in particular hates this man. And by me saying that, he's going to know who it is. Okay. They hate each other. So, like, I would have to go into it being like, okay, I can't go in there in a good mood. I have to go in and kind of, like, pissed off at him. So that way, like, I just, like, continuously get detached.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it'd be, like, the worst conversations. I'll be like, I hate you.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I hate you too. in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, so happy he will never watch this. It's a both parents thing.
Never say never.
Yeah.
He doesn't like me like that. He does not care to, like, know anything about my life, so I'm not really too concerned.
That's
fair enough. Yeah, because I kind of wonder, like, what the difference is between, like, schizoid fantasy and, like, actually dissociating.
Well, as somebody who has been in medically induced insanity, there's a big difference between hallucinating and just, like, daydreaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've hallucinated. I have this fun thing now where I hallucinate when I am, like, almost asleep or when I have a fever.
Yeah, see, I've heard of, like, hallucinations with a fever. I've never actually hallucinated. I've got no experience with that.
No?
It's
none at all.
Terrifying.
Oh my gosh. I fell into, like, a little 48 hour coma, I should say.
I was like, what's a 48 coma?
48-hour coma. Shoot. This was maybe 2017.
Yeah.
Summer of 2017, something like that. I fell asleep on Tuesday night and I woke up Thursday morning.
That's crazy.
And I've got no memory other than getting mad because there was people standing in my room watching me sleep, but no one was helping me. And so I remember yelling, "Why won't you guys help me?"
Yeah.
And then I took my sweater off because I was hot because I had a fever.
Yeah.
And I hucked it across my room and then I fell asleep again and I woke up Thursday morning.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because, like, Graylin, we were, like, over at a friend's house for, like, a New Year's Eve or something, and he was, like, had a fever or something, and my family was just like, oh, like, he'll sleep it off, like, you can just sleep in the couch or, like, whatever, and just sleep it off, but he was, like, hallucinating. He was, like, calling my mom, like, Batman. He's like, no, Batman, I don't want to go ananywhere.
Yeah.
No, maybe my dad, and then my mom was like, well, what am I? He's like, you're the Joker. My mom holds that very close to her heart.
Oh no.
It was very funny for me, but, yeah, but I've never actually, like,
But then
hallucinated like that.
Now I have this thing where, like, if I take a nap or if I'm, like, sometimes I'm just about to fall asleep, I start hearing my name.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I wake up so fast because it sounds like someone's, like, leaning over and, like, whispering in my ear my name.
Oh my gosh, the Grim Reaper.
It's terrifying. No, but it's always a woman's voice.
The Grim Reaper's female.
No, I always hear, like, Michaela.
I hate that.
And it jolts me awake.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really fun little thing now. I'm like, I love that.
Wow, blessings for
My
me.
two now are, I have to, like, well, it's actually, this is the one great thing. We moved houses. So my house used to face, like, our old house was, you could see straight down the road, like, all the way from my window, and then you could see road on my other window. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I always pictured, like, Slenderman.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, like, I'd always sleep with all my blinds drawn, whatever, but now mine just faces our next door neighbor's house, so I'm not too worried about Slenderman
nice.
popping.
Yeah.
But when I get, like, just
Oh no!
when I get really overtired and, like,
Oh, fuck me.
this is a really fun conversation to have when there's a thunderstorm outside. But what I get now, because especially with my ADHD medication, I will get really overtired and get wired. I will see the walls and floors will start swirling.
Oh my gosh.
And like dripping, and then I'll see Slenderman outside.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I've called like my ex. I've called him because he lives like 2 seconds from me. I'd call him, scream, crying. Please come over. I am seeing things. I need you. Like, God, please.
Oh my goodness.
And he'd be like, I can't. I'm tired.
This is why you're an ex. Are we surprised? Well, fuck you very much.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well that's...
I'm gonna get a text if he ever watches this.
No, you won't. Okay, so next we have is anticipation. And so this is the devotion of one's effort to solving problems before they arise. So for example, someone... me. Someone prepares for a job interview by practicing answering their toughest questions, or like rehearses their conversations going places, or you know,
I think this is just like an autistic thing.
it's just like anxiety,
But I do that too,
autism, like
Yeah, well, she said anxiety, and you're anxious avoidant, so
yeah, it's very much an anxious thing. Is like
yeah.
And with me, like, I need to, like, kind of go through every, like, scenario so that I know how to act, because I can't think on my feet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrible in a crisis, and so, like, I kind of need to, like, figure it out before it happens. Maybe that's just me trying to, like, explain away anxiety, but...
It's funny, though, because I think, like, I'm pretty good in crisis, but when it comes to talking about myself, I'm really bad. So especially with, like, the interview thing, like, that's why I need to rehearse, because I need to, like... learn how to talk positively about myself.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's your achievement? I'm like, I've achieved nothing in life. Thank you so much. You can just like hire someone else.
Yeah, imposter syndrome kind of like takes over.
Very much so. And so that's like, particularly with interviews, I really practice.
Yeah.
Coming into like, for the podcast, I jot note, I review, and then I'm like, oh, I'll wing it. Like, everything's going to be fine. Like, I'm not anxious about that.
But I write paragraphs.
Yeah. Trini writes out word for word exactly what she was going to say.
Yeah, because otherwise I forget.
I just come here and I just hope I'm funny that day. That's how I do this podcast.
Like, how funny am I feeling?
Yeah. But no, I understand that one, though. I feel like that's just like a normal kind of response to nervousness.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next one is compensation. So it's focusing on achievement in one area of life in order to distract attention away from the inadequacy or fear of inadequacy in another area of life. An example would be like a student who got bad grades on the report cards, then starts devoting more time to extracurricular clubs and activities.
Yeah.
I've never done this in my life. I don't know what any... I didn't throw myself into work when I was doing really bad at school. No, could not be me.
That's so interesting, because, like... I would, like, if I got a bad grade on my report card, I would just, like, devote myself, like, to that class instead of, like, other things, I feel like. Like, that's kind of what I thought they were talking about, is, like, they got a bad grade on their report card, so, like, they just went, like, all in on school to kind of, like, compensate for it. Mm-hmm. But that's not at all what it's saying, so.
No. I don't think I do that.
Yeah, no, I definitely compensate a lot.
I kind of say, oh, well, oops, and then move on to whatever else I want to do. But I don't throw myself, like, intentionally into something else to avoid what I'm bad at.
Well, that's what I'm doing with art right now.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing with partying, and that's what I was doing with work. Like, it's just whenever I feel like I'm not doing good enough in one aspect of life, I go even harder in every other aspect, because I'm like, I already failed that one.
I can't even, like, say that with partying, because I was still getting, like, decent grades. I was getting the grades that I was expecting to get. Mm-hmm. So that was just, like, a distraction more than anything.
Yeah.
For me. Alrighty, our next one is displacement. So displacement is transferring one's emotional burden or emotional reaction from one entity to another. So taking out your stressful day at work on your family is an example.
Yep.
I can't say I don't do that, but I try to avoid it.
Yeah, I definitely think that I think I was taking it out on, like, anyone who was close to me.
Yeah, it was eggshells for a minute there with you.
Yeah, those last couple months of work were scary.
Alexa and I were both like, we can't confide in Journey about anything because she'll just get stressed out and snap.
Really mad.
Yeah, there was a point where we just like,
we're like, it's me and you, just me and you back.
Sorry.
Mom needs a minute.
Just dad and daughter time.
Otherwise she will fold.
I'm having a mental breakdown for months now.
We're let Jern work on Jern.
Thank you.
Once you started critiquing how I did my job, I was like, okay, Journey's in a bad place.
Yeah, there was some days where I was like, Alexa, are you gonna get that? That's not how you make that.
And I'm like, yes, it is.
But I heard wrong. Because I was trying to do her job because I forgot she was competent. And so I was trying to do her job and everyone else's, and I was like, oh, darn it.
I know there's a few times you did that with me. Like, we kind of did the same with each other where we would get, like, not protective. What am I trying to say? Like, picky with each other.
Yeah.
Even though we both knew what we were doing.
Well, because we both run the place different ways.
Yeah.
But then, like, when we work together, we kind of have to, like, it's the same thing as, like, if your husband works away a long time and then he, like, comes in, you kind of have to, like, readjust to, like, how you do life because your partner's home now.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, okay, like, now it would usually take us, like, a couple hours and then we'd kind of figure it out.
Well, you would get, like, you'd get more nitpicky than I am because you are just, like, more anal than I am.
Yeah.
About things. But, yeah, there's a few times where Journey started micromanaging me and I just go, yes, mom. And she'd be like, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, it just happens.
Yeah.
I forget it.
You tell me how to, like, do the food order or something. I was like, yes, mom.
Yes, mom.
Yeah, you'd be telling me how to make drinks as you're taking till, and I'm like, dude, I'm not on that one yet.
Yeah, I'd be like doing sandwiches and Alexa's on drinks, someone else is on till, and be like, that's not an oat macchiato. And she's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like,
That's next.
okay, sorry, I thought I heard real good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the next one that all three of us do is humor. And so that's decreasing or combating the negative emotions associated with the situation by using comedy. So telling a funny story about someone during their eulogy. I don't think that's necessarily the best example of using humor as a coping mechanism.
But, because you're not, like, being too, well, I guess maybe the eulogies one. Yeah, no, because eulogies what you say at the funeral, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the obituary. Don't put humor in your obituary unless it's, like, a really funny person. Like,
Yeah.
keep that one, like, sweet. No, but in the eulogy, like, I don't know, you tell a funny story about the person and kind of get everyone laughing just to kind of break up the heaviness.
Yeah. But I feel like it's not necessarily, like, a defense mechanism. Like, maybe it is.
So it's not, like, so heavy. It's what's the term? In humor psychology, it's like a relief period, like comedic relief, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's not just like this, like, heavy cloud. It's kind of like,
Just kind of lightens it
like,
up a
I'm
little
really
bit.
sad, this sucks, I love this person, but they'd be laughing at me because I tripped up the stairs on my way here.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
you kind of, like, get everyone to giggle a bit, so it's not just, like,
Yeah.
so dense. At least that's what I do. Like, as I'm even planning for my friend's, like, wedding. I know this is not different than a funeral, but to keep it, like, I find, like, sappy emotions heavy as well. And so to keep the sappiness down, I'm gonna go for comedy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right? If I can make people laugh, then it'll make public speaking way easier. Because even though, yes, we have a podcast,
Yeah.
I'm not talking in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
We're talking to a camera and a light.
Yeah.
So,
And they keep their opinions to themselves.
Yeah, they're great listeners.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's outside of maybe, like, the context of what you're speaking, but also the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it is like, because the definition of defense mechanisms is so you don't feel like an uncomfortable emotion, like an uncomfortable emotion, or this would be like sadness or sappiness.
Yeah. So if you're
So I
public
guess, yeah.
speaking at a funeral,
Yeah.
those are two really heavy things. So yeah, you use comedy to kind of lighten up the mood and break up so that not everyone's just, like, so heavy. So
Yeah.
for me, that makes sense.
That's
Because
fair.
again,
This is just, like, my entire personality. It's just using comedy to defense. Because, like, there's not a single thing that I can talk about seriously. Like, there's sometimes, like, where I'll be able to, like, sit down and, like, actually have, like, serious conversations with people if I need to. And that, like, scares people. Because
Yeah.
I spend all my time talking about, like, really heavy and dark stuff, but in, like, the funniest way possible.
Yeah.
And then when I actually sit down and I'm like, you need to, like, do blah, 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 blah. Because, like, in a serious tone, they're like, well, you mean business. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's fair. Yeah, so I feel like this is the one we kind of, other than avoidance, this will be, like, our second one. I use that a lot. I make it, I make a point of being like, oh, if we're going into, like, a tough situation, like, I'll make everyone smile, I'll bring the jokes, like,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that's same here.
Yeah.
that's like exactly how like my dad is too. Like me and him, like we don't know how to process bad emotions.
Yeah.
We either get angry or we get funny.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
No, I know how to process. I'm just trying to like alleviate everyone else's kind of thing. And I'm not like the class clown jokester by any means.
Well, it was really...
I am.
Yeah.
I definitely laugh at everything.
Yeah, because like it was difficult because I had a bunch of funerals in February, and it was difficult for me to try and like comfort these people because I'm like, now is not the time to like alleviate the awkwardness that you're going to be feeling, like the uncomfortability with these like sad emotions with like jokes and humor and like...
Well, it's hard because those ones were like friends' families, you know?
Yeah.
Most of my funerals have been like my family.
Yeah.
So I'm able to crack jokes at my family because that's my processing as well, right?
Well,
you
yeah.
can't tell me I'm doing that wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you're attending for a friend or like, as like a guest, so to speak, it's a little bit more difficult because...
Well, it was just like I just didn't know like the vibe
Yeah.
of like, oh, are we going to avoid these feelings or are we going to be real sad? Like, what am I walking into here?
Yeah.
But,
It's hard.
oh well.
Alright, the next one is in big word, intellectualization, the development of pattern of excessive thinking or overanalyzing which may increase the distance from one's emotions. Example, someone gets diagnoses with a terminal illness but doesn't show emotion after the diagnosis and instead starts to research every source they can find out about the illness.
Why are you looking at me? I've never been diagnosed with an illness. I just do that in preparation. What's the first one we read? It's like preparing the answers to problems or whatever. That's what I do. I think Alexa does this.
Yeah, well, that's something that we've bonded over is like we're both painfully self-aware and painfully knowledgeable about so much stuff. No idea what to do with said information or self-awareness.
Yeah. It's like I can understand exactly what's going on, but there is not a like I don't know how to like fix it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
It's pretty rough.
intellectualize things. I intellectualize things for people.
Yeah, no, I do it all by myself.
I like to analyze, and I'm like, why is your skin breaking out all of a sudden so randomly? Like, what gut health? Like, I just go like, I kind of go into and start doing my problem solving thing. I really need to like step back and start being like, do you want my help?
yeah.
Well, it's like something that I love about women and female friendships is you never go into the friendship worried that you're gonna get tons and tons of unsolicited advice that just like is straight up dumb.
Yeah.
But like when I go into it with like a conversation with any man, I'm like, if I bring up a single problem, I know I'm gonna get just like bombarded with all this like dumb advice. Because I'm like, I like how women intellectualize things, but with men it's like, let me fix it. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I need to understand it. That's why I'm talking to you about it.
Literally. Well, even that TikTok you sent me of like the different relationships between like men and women, where it's like I'll talk to you guys about a bunch of things. They'll be like easy peasy, like no big deal, whatever. I don't even think about it. But if I was to go to talk to Bryce about like some of those same things, I'd be overthinking it like all the time, and it wouldn't be the same. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, is he going to judge me? Like, what does he think about that or whatever? Like.
Well, this is why you should have friendships beside your partner. I feel like that's why so many like relationships fail, is because they want your partner to be this like trauma dumping journal for you, and like to a certain extent, yeah, but like you shouldn't depend on this one person to be your everything, right? And that's where having like the idea of like having various soulmates and stuff in your life, or just like I don't know, just friends in general, is so valuable, because you go to your friends for a certain thing, you go to your partner for a certain thing, you go to your family for a certain thing, right? Like the questions I ask my dad are not the questions I ask my mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can't say the same thing, but that's because I have a very close relationship with my poor father.
No, but still, but even then, though, you can say the same thing, because you won't ask your mom certain questions that you would ask your dad, or vice versa, right? And it's just based off of your relationship with that person.
That's why I think it's also very important that like females have strong female friendships, and why for men it's so important that you like have those strong male friendships where you can talk about your emotions. Because you can obviously show your emotions to your partner because you feel comfortable, and like you've seen her cry or you've seen him cry or whatever. But it's a different thing for a lot of men to show those emotions to their friends. Which is like, when you first see men being able to do that, it is like an astonishing thing.
So the next one is isolation of affect. So avoiding the experience of an emotion associated with a person, idea, or situation. Example, somebody who describes the day their house burned down in a factual way without any emotions. Yeah, I do that. I'm able to talk about things really straightforward.
So I think it's the one that I don't do.
Yeah, I cannot do that.
No.
I feel like I've never experienced this personally, but I watched it happen. I went to in high school, one of my friend's dads passed away, and so we went to his funeral, and she got up there and she spoke just phenomenally, and I was absolutely floored. There was like no emotion. It was like she was just like reading an essay. Like she could have been giving like a valedictorian speech. Like there was like nothing behind it. It was like exactly this. It was so weird to witness.
Yeah, I'm not a huge crier. I grieve in my own time and stuff, but I mean, I've also never had to give him a speech at a funeral. And
I guess I do this now that you've said that example. I do that.
Yeah. We're usually able to just talk about like, oh, this thing. I mean, how like candidly you talk about going into like an asylum. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You're kind of like, yeah, that happened on Tuesday and I was out by Saturday and it was great. Like, you just kind of, it's nonchalant. And I guess for some people it's like jaw on the floor. How did you just say that? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm able to like, I always go into like this like party planning phase. Like,
yeah, I knew that was gonna hit as soon as I saw the lightning in both the windows.
You had to hear that one.
Yeah.
There's no way you guys did not hear that one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're like in the eye of the storm now. Jeez.
No, but like I've never had to like speak at a funeral, but I also like always go into this like party planning phase, and because it's always like my family's funeral, I'm then being like, I'm cleaning up plates, or I'm bringing people drinks, or I'm socializing. Like I tend to be the person who like greets every single person at the event and has a conversation and like, thank you for coming and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And that's my way of taking the load off of like those who are more emotional than I am, right? Who are hit like further by grief. And then on my own time, a song will come on and I'll start crying because it reminds me of a relative, right? So it's not that I avoid it, it's just that I'm able to talk about things like really nonchalant. I'm able to like remove myself from that situation. And
that was even like for my uncle's funeral, every single person, well, two things. During the time when he was in the hospital, everyone was like, I don't know how you're going to work, I don't know how you're making it through your days. And I was like, because I can remove myself from it. And then after the funeral, every single person came up to me and said, you spoke so amazingly, I don't know how you made it through, because nobody was able to make it all the way through their speech without breaking down a little bit. And I was the only one who made it through the entire way, and I didn't start crying until like the actually really traumatic part of it from being in an Indian funeral. So
no, that one's really interesting. Because like how much of it is like isolation of effect and how much of it is like compartmentalization. And so then is compartmentalization like a defense mechanism? Yes, I would say. Okay, so the next one we have is rationalization, which is the justification of one's behavior through attempts at a rational explanation. So an example of this would be someone who steals money but doesn't feel bad because they need the money more than the person they stole it from, kind of like a Robin Hood. I feel like just like rationalizing your like poor behavior, I guess, in a sense.
I feel like I do this more for other people. Like this is something that like I've done for like ex-friends, like stuff like that, where like even still to this day, I'll be like, well actually it's because I started talking to somebody recently again after like probably 4 maybe more years. We were just like catching up and stuff like that, and remembering why we stopped talking and stopped like being in each other's lives, and I'm still rationalizing said behavior.
Well, I feel like a lot of this, like I feel like rationalization plays a huge part in like toxic and abusive relationships, because you're constantly like, even with love bombing, it's like, oh well, they don't mean it because they bought me flowers, or like, oh, they don't mean it because they paid for my supper, like
that's why on average you go back to your abuser 7 times.
Fun. Joy, fun.
All right, the next one is reaction formation. So it's replacing one's initial impulse towards a situation or idea with the opposite impulse. So example, someone who teases or insults a romantic interest, or someone is overly kind to someone they don't like. I would never do those things.
No, definitely not.
I don't straight up bully the people.
I think you and Bryce went to the same school. Well, that's kind of like the thing of like, oh, like, you like come over from school and you're like, oh, like so and so like pulled my pigtails on the like playground, like why would they do that? And your mom's like, oh, that means he likes you. And it's like, no.
Well, it's just fun because like for me, like there's like one person in particular that like I just instantly, as soon as I read that, I was like, this was like our dynamic, where it's just like we're straight up bully each other the entire time.
Yeah.
And then like that's just like how it is, just matching each other's energy the entire time. So I'm like, I'm not actually being mean. The things I'm saying, if they're out of context, are horrible. But
yes, context.
Very important here. I'm not just straight up.
Well, literally, right? Like, that's the same thing. Like, Bryce will, like, bug me, and it's like, even my family's like, oh, like, if we bug you, that means that we like you, right? Like, if we give you a hard time, that's...
Yeah, that's how my family is, too.
But it's also, like, sometimes I don't want to be bugged.
Yeah. Me and my sister have that issue.
Sometimes you can just be nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm hit or miss with that one. Sometimes I like to crack jokes, but yeah, it's not a consistent thing for me.
Yeah. I guess it would, it depends on, like, context and, like, level of, like, teasing, right? Like, there's... Yeah.
Like, I'd say I'm fairly serious until the point where it's like, I don't know, Journey makes a comment that she's like hard on herself. I'm like, oh my gosh, gosh, Jubes, like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's the only time it really comes up. I'm not like introing with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're stupid. What the? Just right off the gate.
We love it. Yeah.
All right. And so we're on to our final 3. So there is sexualization, which is associating sexual aspects to one's experience of certain people, places, objects, or ideas. This can refer to the development of one's sexual identity in general, or it can refer to the development of specific fetishes or sexual references to conventionally non-sexual entities. Can't relate. I've never experienced that.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's the giggle.
Like, I've never related to that. Just silence. It's like, yes, do share.
Well, this is my voice going up 12,000 octaves. Yeah, no, there's definitely, like, this has been an ongoing issue basically since before I even, like, had sex for the first time. And just, like, more and more bad experiences have, like, brought it to me. But it's, like, because I've, like, we've discussed this in the relationships episode. Go check it out. Yeah. But, like, my nudes were sent out without me knowing to, like, a good portion of my school. They were sold, all that kind of stuff. And so since then, my mindset has been, I'm going to sexualize myself before they can sexualize me.
Right.
It's, like, the same person as somebody who's, like, conscious about their weight, making fat jokes about themselves because then other people can't say them to hurt you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's definitely, like, the, like, kind of, like, the kinkier side where it's, like, definitely come out of, like, me, like, wanting control over, like, certain things. My issue of, like, sleeping with anyone who gives me attention for a while there was kind of, yeah, there was definitely some, we're working on it. But,
because I feel like, I don't know, like, sometimes it's easy for me to be, like, dirty-minded, like, my mind's always in the gutter, like, with these last couple episodes.
Last week's episode.
Yeah, chaos. But it's like, is that sexualization? Yes. Is that immaturity? Yes. Like, what?
Yeah. No, this one definitely is, like, out of all of these, humor and sexualization is my 2 biggest defense mechanisms.
Oh, interesting.
Like, by far. Yeah. And if you ask any man who has ever spoken to me, they'll tell you that. Well, actually, yeah, because I play it off really well. Because I'm like, I'm just so shy and, like, I'm so, like, quiet and quirky. And then it's just like, I know she's something else.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, sublimation is transforming one's anxiety or emotions into pursuits considered by societal or cultural norms to be more useful. So someone who channels their aggression and energy into playing sports.
I might do that.
Yeah.
Not with that exact thing, but, like...
Well, it's even, like, channeling your aggression into working out. Or, like, going for a run. Like, when I'm super angry, all I want to do is go for a run, but I'm so out of shape that I can't, so I just kind of sit there and stew on it.
I lift heavy weights.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm sad, I like to, like, draw, paint, or play guitar. That's typically what I lean into. My anger, I don't get angry very often. More recently, I've carried more anger than I have in my entire life, but then I just want to, like... talk.
Yeah.
When I get angry, I just want to, like, talk and yell.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I was, like, the most angsty, that's when I started kickboxing, so...
Yeah, that'll do it.
Take that as you will. And that's what I was too dainty for kickboxing.
Yeah. Well, like, a lot of this is literally just, like energy release.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay, and last one, Alexa.
All right, suppression. So consciously choosing to block ideas or impulses that are undesirable or opposed to repression, a subconscious process. So someone who has intrusive thoughts about a traumatic event but pushes them out of their mind. Okay, I lied about those two ones being my biggest ones. Depression is also up there.
Well, I feel like I don't necessarily like, well, maybe I do suppress, but I feel like I have intrusive thoughts, but it's never to the point where like they might actually happen.
Oh, I had really bad ones for a while there.
Yeah.
There is one of my past relationships where, oh my god, I can't believe I said this to another human being and expected them to take it the right way. I turned to him and I said, you know, sometimes I wonder what it would be like to kill you.
Oh my gosh!
And like we were like having a great fun little day. We were just chilling and he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, just like stab you. Like I just kind of want to know what it's like.
You could say that to me and I would be like, you know what? Yeah. Stabbing people's really hard.
Well, this is the same type of person. This is the same person who like wanted to like do that in like a sexual context with me. So like I didn't. Like, I thought that he would be. I'm gonna bite my tongue on what I was going to say.
Fine.
Yeah, but I was like, that's why I thought he'd like take it fine. But he was like, you want to kill me? And I was like, no, I don't want to actually kill you. I just wonder what it would be like.
I was just thinking.
Yeah, so now I've implemented like this, like it's a bimbo thing where it's like an actual like where you picture like a white blank wall in your head. So now whenever I have like really bad days of intrusive thoughts, just know the entire day I'm just picturing like this wall right here, just like in my head, like nothing there.
Oh my gosh.
Empty. And I've gotten really good at being like head empty, no thoughts. Like I'm not gonna lie.
We love it.
Yeah.
Okay, my intrusive thought was Bryce's mom stuck her hand to get some, like in front of me to get candy from like his sister, and I was like, I just about spit my gum into her hand. Like that's what my body was telling me to do. That was my intrusive thought.
Yeah, no, I get really violent intrusive thoughts.
Okay, yeah,
where
fair
like I
enough.
physically, like if I were to like act on them, I would be in jail.
Well, I have a book you should read. It's called How I'll Kill You. It's not real. I read it yesterday. So good. But she literally like asks the partner that she's with. She's like, yeah, like if you had to kill me, like how would you do it? And he gives her an answer that like shows that he's like thought about it. And she's like, oh my gosh, what a turn on. And I was like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, no, I literally told him exactly, like, I was like, I know how to do it. Like, I planned it all out. I know how to dispose of your body if I needed to. And he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, hey, you're just as twisted as I am. Don't try and act on this now, sir.
Oh, intrusive thoughts for the win.
All right. So that's defense mechanisms. Yeah, you guys want to share what ones you have?
Yeah, let us know. We'd be really interested to hear.
Yeah. How many do you relate to? How many are you like, y'all are weird?
Y'all are correct. And with that being said, like if you guys have like opinions of like, oh, this is like a healthy defense mechanism versus like an unhealthy defense mechanism, because we kind of thought that like, oh, depending on the context and the severity, defense mechanisms can either be like maladaptive or adaptive, like depending on like how you're using it. Like,
yeah,
if your intrusive thought is to kill someone,
might be maladaptive.
Feels maladaptive.
Yeah. If it's to get through a funeral speech,
then adaptive, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
because I'd say like my humor one has always been like pretty positive. Like I never, except in like my last, like in relationships mostly, is when it's like you need to work through your stuff, and I'm like, now it makes me funny, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like my sexualization issues, like that one's horrendous for me.
Yeah,
no doubt,
definitely. So Alexa, she doesn't know our segment today
For once.
I know.
surprise.
But I have been collecting some stuff to share on the podcast from my dating app experiences.
Okay. Yeah.
Alexa's been waiting to do this.
Oh, I wish I could still go through my hinge.
And so what Alexa's gonna be doing is she's going to be rating Hinge comments that I have received or things that I've seen on Hinge.
Some of them are gold.
Yeah.
Can I add something really quick?
Yeah.
Two of my brother and my sister both had my Hinge account screenshotted and sent to them by their friends.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's awkward.
Love to see it.
Okay, we're gonna start strong. So one of my prompts that I have is 90 to 95% of serotonin is created in the gut because I'm weird, I'm a dork. And so the response for this one was, must be why I always have diarrhea because I'm always happy.
I don't have IBS, I'm chronically happy.
I'm chronically happy.
Oh my god.
I would rate that like a questionable 6 out of 10. Okay. You're just gonna say that. Like, listen, I just told the internet that I peed on my mom's bed, but I wouldn't slide into someone's DM saying that, you know?
You volunteer, you have diarrhea.
Yeah.
I love
I thought
it.
I was gonna go somewhere else, like, oh, let me give you that extra 5% when I rearrange your guts kind of thing, you know? Like,
I feel like she did get one very similar to that, like at the very beginning, but I don't.
Me?
Yeah.
We'll get through there. I don't know. I have about
I
like
think
50
so.
photos or something
and I
here.
think like a man, so like I know, like,
We know.
Okay, this was on someone's profile. So the prompt is, instead of grabbing drinks, let's A, egg people's cars, B, go for a walk along river outside the city and have a campfire, or C, build something cool like Phineas and Ferb.
I love that. That sounds like my soulmate. 10 out of 10.
Oh
You
my
mentioned
gosh.
Phineas and Ferb? Hell yeah, you got me. I still religiously watch that show.
It's good.
Okay, and this is a prompt is, so my simple pleasures is really like listening to other people's stories, especially when I'm close to you. So listening to your verbal diarrhea would make me feel good.
Again, soulmate material. No, give that one like an 8 out of 10 because I hate the word verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
I like word vomit much better.
Yeah, that's fair.
That makes sense. So this one is, a random fact I love is, learned how to cook because a fortune teller told me my wife wouldn't when I was 8.
Oh my gosh, I totally read that wrong the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought he said that like when him and his wife were together when they were 8, a fortune teller told her that he wouldn't know how to cook, so he learned how to cook like out of spite.
No.
That's
No, but I love like
amazing.
the determination like of an 8-year-old. Like yeah,
Totally.
like again, like probably like a good another 8.
Yeah. This one's gonna get you.
That's amazing.
My simple pleasures, acts of cervix.
It's funny because I've seen that so many times, but it gets me every time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Like I love it. It's just such a good wordplay, but I'm also like it's kind of like run its course now. So
Yeah.
I'm like a 7, like a solid 7.
My most controversial opinion is, I'm pro cilantro. Using the term pro cilantro.
Pro salon.
Well, with cilantro, it's actually a genetic thing.
Yeah.
Liking it. So I'm like, that just means that your genetics are just like a little bit too different from mine, and like,
Which means that your genetics are
Yeah.
elite.
well, I'm like, listen, I don't. Knowing that you like cilantro means that if our genetics mix, it is like a 50-50 shot on whether that kid is gonna like it or hate it. And personally, I hate cilantro. I cannot do it. It tastes disgusting to me. So like,
That's so
2 out of
interesting.
10.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious how he used the term pro cilantro.
Pro
Yeah.
cilantro.
My love language is words of service and physical gifts.
That's great. That's great. That's like a solid 6. That's, Yeah.
This is a response to one of my photos. So, the scenery is so majestic. The mountains in the background, cloudy skies. Seems to be some sort of vineyard. Amazing. Too bad I missed all of that because I was too busy staring at your ass.
I love it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Like I'd be like, oh, that's yeah.
yeah.
A novel
It's
prefacing
like
it.
a good 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
We should play Mad Libs with him.
Right?
But they,
A lot of descriptive words.
you like stuck that punchline so hard though. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like yeah.
Yep. So this one is a response to the serotonin one. This guy said, the other 5 to 10% of serotonin comes from matching with someone like you.
Ew,
Aw,
gross.
That's so disgusting. Yeah, that's like a 4. I'd be like, oh, gross.
Yeah. The way to win me over is be sweat.
What?
He wrote sweat.
Did he mean sweaty?
Or sweet.
Oh, maybe. Way to win me over. Be sweaty.
Be sweat.
Gross.
Yeah, no matter what it is, I'd be like, that's a 2.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All I ask is that you be crazy for me, or just crazy. I need a little excitement in my life.
Fuck 10 out of 10 because that's exactly how I feel.
No, giant red flag.
No, me and my sister were having this conversation. She was like, sometimes like, because her relationship is amazing. Like everything that I could ever ask for in a relationship she has.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't you get bored sometimes? She's like, no, I'm too mean to get bored. Because, like, she keeps it spicy. Like, our joke is that, like, Lauren's, like, the bully and Gavin's just, like, a pushover. So, like, that's how it makes it work.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's like getting back at, like, pushing back at her now. But, like,
That's good.
I need, like, a little bit of, like, just, like, toxic energy. Or if I get so bored and I get disinterested.
Yeah.
And then I just can't get the interest back. So I'm like, you gotta keep me on my toes.
Yeah.
But don't be mean to me.
Don't be mean to me, but keep me entertained.
You can be a little bit jealous. Like, don't call me like, don't just call me once. Like maybe like 4 times.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the serotonin one again. And this guy's response to it was, and it's definitely not the happy hormone! Exclamation point. Definitely not the happy hormone.
I don't understand.
It contributes one of your happy hormones.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not it.
It's definitely not. Like, is he just saying, like, he also has IBS because he's depressed and shits his pants regularly?
I don't know, but he said that with an exclamation, so.
Oh my gosh.
I think Sarah needs some therapy.
Some help. Mm-hmm.
Family doctor.
This episode sponsored by BetterHelp.
Well, I'm just going to fire off a couple more of these serotonin ones. This response said, healthy gut, happy butt.
Vibes.
Okay.
And then
She get that on merch.
Literally.
And then my gut instinct was telling me that.
That's funny.
You're so funny.
Oh, okay, yeah, this one is I guess it's next level. So this is on their profile. So it says, together we could have some fun together and enjoy some laughs. Emoji, 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 emoji. Is it champagne, a hockey, a wink, a devil, a side eye, a sweaty emoji? Also, I swear every second girl on here mentions pineapple on pizza in their bio. Like, is it really that controversial? I must know. Or maybe we just ran out of ideas.
Well, the fact that you brought it up on your bio definitely indicates that, yes, it is that controversial.
Yeah. Well, also, I feel like girls putting they like pineapple on their pizza is probably a good sign for you, sir.
Yeah.
Because you want your girl eating that pineapple.
Literally.
Okay, this is another screenshot from one of the same guy's prompts. Because he was just a walking red flag, so I had to screenshot all of it. And it says, a random fact I love is, I'm 6'4" and 240 pounds if you like to be tossed around, ... in an open relationship. Devil emoji, sweaty emoji, kissy emoji. So I'm taken, ...
What?
Period. Like, but I can still have fun. I'm just not allowed to catch feelings.
So much to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking red flag.
I'm in an open relationship. I'm taken, though.
Yeah. Oh, this one, you'll like this one. This one's funny. Together we could go to couples therapy on our first date and see how long it takes the therapist to realize we don't know each other.
Yes. I want to do that so bad. That'd be so funny. Oh my god.
That would actually be so much fun. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna propose that to some of my friends.
That would be
Like,
so
I just want
funny.
them to see how long it takes for them to realize we're not dating.
Oh my goodness, that would be iconic. Like, yeah, first date, couples therapy. It took them, like... And you could do it with, like, so many. It could be, like, an escape room. And you could, like, have, like, time to be like, oh, yeah, like, we did it in 15 minutes. Like, oh, we beat the thing. We did it in 20 minutes. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. One thing I'd love to know about you is your favorite meal after getting your back blown out.
Honestly, that sounds great for me because typically I like, this is what happens, right? I'll go to their house and then I'll be like, things will be done and I'll just like turn over after like 2 minutes and I'll be like, do you want me to leave now?
Yeah.
And like sometimes they'll be like, yep, and then sometimes they'll be like, no, stay, la, la, la. I'm like, dude, I was just asking because I want to leave.
Yeah. That was me saying, I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, but if I feel too weird just being like, okay, that was fun.
Bye.
Get out now.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, oh, I don't want to look like that. I'm going to put it on you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You have to make
Yeah,
the
but if you're
decision.
going to feed me after, hell yeah, I'll stay. Give me some pasta, hell yeah, I'll stay.
Love it.
A little bit Eastside Mario's, you know.
Something that's a non-negotiable for me. We have to flee the city, start an alpaca farm, adopt every goat, and have 10 kids.
You had me until the 10 kids.
You had me until flee the city.
Yeah, no, you had me until 10 kids.
Oh my gosh. Do they know alpacas are disgusting? And they spit on you?
You can house train an alpaca.
Oh my gosh. We had a llama just killed all of our sheep.
That's not alpaca and llamas are different.
Yeah, but not by much.
Well, llamas you can't house train. Alpacas you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're the same.
I have a sled push thing on my profile because it's my biggest flex. And this guy replied saying, "You training to fight Thanos?"
I'd be like, yes, I am, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. Don't you know he's a fictional character?
Don't you know he's dead in the MCU? Come on.
Literally. Spoiler.
Alrighty, we'll do a couple more. And then-
Spoilers if it didn't come out in 2016.
Well, we don't know.
Alrighty, so this one's another option one. It says, choose our first date. Hunting each other for sport, spitting pre into each other's mouths, and coffee. Those are the 3 options.
I don't like hunting each other for sport.
Okay, wow, yeah. Coffee?
Be like, that's boring. I want to try and kill you. As we already established.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. You should not go out with me if you're looking for your soulmate. Also, side note, girls' hiking pictures are the same as guys' fishing photos on online dating. Change my mind.
No, because women can do no wrong and men are just gross and I don't like them, so.
Well, he just wants to be controversial for the sake of being controversial, so.
Yeah. And I'm like, you holding up a fish tells me nothing about you. Like, you like to touch wet, gross, slimy things. Like, cool, like, go touch yourself.
Go touch yourself.
A woman out in nature hiking, I'm like, oh, you're adventurous, you like the outdoors, you appreciate nature and the beauty of like our Mother Earth. Like,
You're
yes.
fit, you've got great stamina.
Yeah, like that's fantastic. This guy likes to sit on a boat all day so that he can like hopefully touch something that smells disgusting. Again, just go touch yourself and you'll be fine.
So 0 out of 10. Alrighty. A shower thought I recently had. Hand jobs could just be called beef jerkies.
Yeah. That is like, again, like such a red flag, but that is something I would say.
Yeah, we'll love it.
Here's a pickup line. Are you mixed by any chance? You just look half fine and half mine.
Oh. Nice.
This makes him the whitest bitch out there. There's no way. Okay, yeah, here's the last one. So, I'm looking for premarital hand holding.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yes, leave room for Jesus.
Our founding father, Jesus.
Founding father, Jesus. Oh my gosh.
As my brother calls him, the OG pimp.
The OG pimp!
Yeah, he's like, has like a running bit that like Jesus is the one who taught him to be a hoe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that's defense mechanisms and some...
Michaela's hinge profile.
My Mac unhinged.
Yeah, I'm gonna put pictures of all of those on the video. So if you actually like want to see the photo that they were talking about, or like want to like need a visual, it'll be on the YouTube video as well. So you guys can go check that out.
Yep. I'm Mak Joy.
I'm Mak Jubes.
I'm Alexa.
And this is Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps. You can find us on all social media platforms at Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps, and our website is sometimesciabattaslaps.com, where you can find our affiliate links, our book reviews, our past guests, links to our guest episode. Alexa is our top guest.
Yes.
I've come, this is my 3rd time here, and I'm gonna be back many more times.
Many more times.
It'll go 3 to 5 really quickly because we have 2 more episodes lined up with Alexa featuring in them. So,
So we're pretty excited about that.
yeah.
Do you want to say what your socials are, Alexa?
It's Alexa Narang on Instagram, Heyo Adders on TikTok. I just posted a new TikTok if you want to go check it out. It's pretty funny, pretty trendy.
It's good. I watched it. I liked it.
Yeah. And then if you like what we're doing here, or if you just like us, give us a like, a rating, and a review if you're feeling extra generous.
If you're feeling obliged.
Yeah, it helps us bump up in...
Helps us stay relevant in
Yeah.
the podcast sphere.
Yeah.
On the charts and stuff.
And we like being relevant, so...
All right. Well, that's it.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye.